Hey crafty friends, this is Jenny from Craft Test Dummies. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some markers. My daughter said she brought them down. I have to kind of roll over and get them. So this is a kind of in that series of exploring items purchased from the Wish app directly from China and Vietnam and the manufacturers. And my biggest purchase to date were these markers. So they're called Touch New markers. These markers were, there's 60 in the pack. It comes just like so. And they were $31. So that averages to just a little over 50 cents a marker. And I think the shipping was like maybe $5, super cheap. Okay, so the thing is that they're alcohol-based markers. I've had a couple people who own the Shin Han markers tell me that they are almost identical to Shin Han. And I'm going to show you, they're called, this says on the barrel TouchFive. So I'm going to show you this one. It says TouchFive. I want to point out that it has a slightly, it's a squared barrel, so it will not run off of your table. On both ends, it also has the color indicator and a number. There is a numbering system. I don't know if they correspond to anything else or if it's its own numbering system, but it has one so you can keep track. So this is number 10 and it is deep red. On the barrel, it will also show you that there is a broad tip and a fine tip. It looks like the fine tip also has a little bit of a color indicator, this little gray band that shows you that it is the bullet nib. And I don't consider this an ultra fine tip. This is more like a nice journaling size or a fine point size. It has a slightly rounded bullet nib. So there you go for that. By the way, it also looks like the caps are identical on either side, so it doesn't matter which one you put on. You don't have to like, oh, I got to put the right cap on the right end. So then on the other end, on your broad tip, it's actually a nice chunky chisel, and it'll give you a nice broad swath of color. So there's that. There's the entire set. It's gorgeous. I also don't see them in here, but it came with a liner and a gel pen. Where'd the liner and the gel pen go?
They're both upstairs.
Oh, you're gonna go get them? Okay, because it comes with a set with a liner and a white gel pen, and I feel like that's important to share with you too. So now, what it did not come with is a blending marker. There was no blending marker in my set. So let me go through some of the color swatches for you. And I'm going to just kind of hold them up. I'm not going to go through each one, but what I want to do is show you that there is a big line, a middle line, and then a small line. So you can see what 1, 2, and 3 coats does for the ink. Now again, this is a super smooth paper, so when you pause, you get a puddle, which is why she did not like this particular kind of marker pad, this ink block. So you can kind of see though, the colors are very nice. She swatched them all out for me. Very vibrant. Love that one right there. That deep red is my fave. Or is that vermilion? Ooh, vermilion. Here's another row of swatches. So you can see that the colors are vibrant. Bailey, did you feel like that they move smoothly on the surface? So can you tell us what your experience was in working with a marker?
So I actually tested out these markers on 2 different types of paper. So this was one of them right here. And I just don't really like this paper in general because I like working quick with my markers, and even while I was working, there was a bunch of smudging with the markers, and the way that it kind of pooled made it look a bit, I don't know, messy, kind of.
Well, it also makes it look a little bit more like a watercolor because you get that puddling instead of the smooth. What we like about alcohol ink is the smooth, even coverage. So really, and we're not totally reviewing the paper today, but as far as the lay down on typical cardstock, would you like to show them one of your samples? So she's going to show you her sample and then how that marker worked.
Yeah, these were this was the other paper I did right here on, like...
Here's where the camera is over here.
Oh, okay. So this is one of the ones that I did on cardstock with the markers, and I really like them on this cardstock because it gave it a nice vibrant color. And
I'm gonna hold it up for you.
Yeah.
So, and just by
very similar to a Copic.
It's very similar to a Copic, which is what everybody's going to ask. So I just want to show you, it does, like a traditional alcohol marker, it seeps through. By the way, this is like a One Sheet Wonder or a Nina white, solar white cardstock. So it's not like super heavy. I would say this is probably, what, 90 pound? Maybe 110. But just by going over it multiple times, she was able to get that like a little bit darker value without doing a whole lot of shading and blending. She brought down that actually did come with a line pen, just so you know. This is black ink. I've actually bought some more of these, so we'll review these as a separate item, but these came with it. And then somewhere, oh yes, here it is. There's also a white gel pen. All right, so now we've hit the portion of the review where what I'm going to do is just speed it up and give you a little narration over the top. I picked a couple of green colors, I picked a couple of red colors, and I just wanted to do a little live demo of the drawing. And of course it's hard because the way the camera is placed, my hand is in the way for part of the time, but you can kind of see how it's happening as we go in fast motion, which is another reason to do it. So my impressions were, these are definitely, they blend just like any of the alcohol markers I've tried before. They're very similar in blending to Copic or to the Nuvo markers. They lay down very quickly. They blend with each other very nicely, and you'll see a little bit of that coming up with the pink here. And there is a very mild alcohol odor. Not so much that it's overwhelming, not what I consider a stinky marker where it's like, woo, like a Sharpie where you need to go get some breath. But you know, it does have a little bit of an odor, so it's nice to, you know, maybe keep a little fan going. The squared barrels were fairly comfortable in my hand. Actually, they're not quite as comfortable as an oval barrel, but I respect the fact that they will not fall off the table with me, and that I do like the color indicators on the cap. More than a couple times, I really found myself relying on that gray stripe to remind me which side was the fine bullet nib. And you can see in this example here that I don't have a lot of super teeny weeny lines, but enough that, you know, I really felt the fine tip was the only one to use. I don't use a chisel that much. So I pretty much stick to the fine nib, but it works great. They were firm, they didn't have a lot of smushiness to the nibs, and really, for all practical intents and purposes, for 50 cents a marker, these were fairly amazing. So now that you've seen me color in a stamped image, I thought maybe you would enjoy seeing an original piece created by my daughter. Now, she did use the liner pen that came with the set to do the outlining. She drew it freehand. It's her own original artwork. And now she's coloring it in for us. And I just thought it'd be fun for you to see how somebody else does the coloring. So just take a little second and enjoy this. And I'll be back in just a few seconds to wrap it up. All right, I'm going to just wrap up here with one more little sample that I made. These are Lawn Fawn stamps, and I used about 3 colors on each. You can also see that I used the fine liner pen to go back over the outlines, and I also used the white gel pen to add some little accents. I'm really, really happy with the way these turned out. I feel like that really the quality of these markers far surpasses the price and accessibility point. So really for this reason, I have to completely endorse these. And I will say that the only thing that I have found was a little weird was I got two of the same pink color. So there was one duplicate. So really instead of being 60 markers, it was 59 markers plus a liner and a gel pen, but I'm willing to overlook that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this overview and demo of the TouchFive alcohol markers that I ordered off of Wish. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave me a comment, tell me why. And as always, we would love it if you subscribed. Thank you for watching and have a crafty day.